All right, and we are live. Hey, everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Thought I would do a quick midday since I'm not going to put up any client logs or anything today. I thought I would do a midday live stream for you guys. Let's see if we get a little bit of views in here. If it's anything like this morning has been, um, we'll see how that goes. The day was extremely good for that coffee chat. That was actually off the hinges a bit. The comments got crazy, the donations got crazy. I'm like, man, let's just get in. I said there, what always happens anytime my morning does like that, the afternoon does crazy too. It always goes in patterns. So I'm like, man, I'm gonna get in and I'll do a midday, I'll do an afternoon too. But let's get in, let's talk about some of this stuff because let me get this going, get the little goals going. But the reason I want to cover some of this is I saw something come through the news. Control, you need to get current. You don't get to make a criticism when someone changed something months ago. It's like, I've already changed the whole strategy, discussed it in vast detail. You're late to the party, my friend. You're late to the party. That's like at this point coming in the game and saying, wait, we might have a black president in the US one day. We already have a hyperinflation problem. But here's the thing. He is proposing a stimulus check based upon the tariffs. Um, we can argue about that a lot. He's proposing to not give it to the wealthy. So he's talking about more of the working class. I don't know how that's going to work out, to be fair. The problem is, though, our spending's still out of control. We still have an enormous deficit. Both parties are to blame. One party a little more than the other, but both parties can very much be blamed for that. We got to balance the budget. Now, that also being said, I haven't necessarily qualified for a lot of the stimulus checks. Looking at one I've seen some people propose for this one, I actually might not even qualify for it. What I've seen some experts, I did a little searching of what's been proposed might be who's going to get it. I actually might not be qualified. It just is what it is. Because I've seen some stuff of like an income cap on it and things. So if that's the case, I won't actually get it if it's what I've seen some people propose, but he hasn't proposed anything specific yet. So I guess we'll wait and see, if it gets passed. Right? All right. So we'll see what happens with the whole thing. I'm not gonna hold my breath on it. And like I said, I've got mixed feelings on it. Hey, I'd be the first one to go, hey man, I would love to get some money back from them. But the problem is, this is a problem, right? Our government is in debt. Our government's broke. We don't have money. And when people say silly stuff like, well, what about the military? Well, there's a reason we need the military, but we need to be using our military more effectively, right? We need to be using it to eliminate maybe the flow of drugs, because that destroys our economy, right? That needs to be a military matter, not a police matter. I've discussed that quite a bit. So get rid of the flow of all the drugs into the country, get rid of our drug addiction problems, and that alone boosts the economy. That alone reduces welfare, right? It's not about drug testing. It's about, you got to end the flow of hard drugs into this country and into our communities, right? Till you get the addiction problem solved, that's going to impact welfare rates. That's going to affect crime. That's going to affect, lack of employment, right? As long as there's meth, crack, heroin, I can make a case for cutting back our alcohol flow too, but that one's not going to fly with people to the same extent. But he has been using the military to hit drug boats, and that's been a point of contention and debate. I don't know though. I guess we'll have to see what happens. Of course, this is just a topic I picked to start it off. If you guys come in and have other topics, we jump into other stuff. I mean, as you guys saw, we had a whole conversations this morning talking about peppers and some guy asking about how many calories in a cat. And we got into debates of the inappropriateness of eating pet animals versus livestock. And then we had this whole conversation about hot peppers and, things got a little lively. We got into some crazy topics this morning. These are the conversations that we have in here in my live streams. But I'll be curious to see how this midday one goes. It's getting a little better views than a lot of them. Hit the like button though, guys. Get those likes up. I'm gonna tell you. But Control, you're the only one posted so far, so I don't know what's up with that. Right? I don't know what's up with that. So there we go, getting a few more likes. That'll get people into the flow. And yeah, I want to see how this is. If you Americans get stim checks, you'll need to use them on crypto to pump my. Oh my God. I mean, we've got stimulus checks before in recent years, but yeah, I've got mixed feelings on this one. But it's not everyone doesn't know income caps, right? They put income caps on these stimulus checks. It's not like everybody gets them. So it was a 2024. All right. Yeah. So this other one, right? It was gross adjusted income above 75,000 per year. Right? So a lot of people are not. I don't think people understand. That cuts a sizable chunk of people out. So if they're proposing this same thing, that it's got to be that gross adjusted though. Which would be well and good, if for me, if my itemized deductions were great, but with that standard deduction, I had to take the standard deduction on one not long ago. So yeah. So what they mean by your gross income, that's after your deductions and everything. So, 75,000 is definitely, if only individuals up to 75,000, that's how it works again, that's definitely excluding a lot of high earners. The majority, actually all high earners are being excluded. So that's down to just the middle class getting it, So that's what they're talking about, middle class, the poor. I don't know. Again, I've got mixed feelings on all of it. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, definitely this last one, they capped you at 75,000. Not all of us got those checks. Not all of us got those checks. Toilet paper tendon says, "Hey Jason, can I shape the muscles I already had to be more explosive muscle remodeling?" The muscles are your nervous system. No, you can't change that in the muscle. As far as the nervous system, you can train that. Sure, do more explosive training, right? More explosive type training, speed work, dynamic work, jumping, throwing, explosive movements. Sure, you can get more explosive, but it's not going to be muscle remodeling. That's going to be training your nervous system differently, right? There's big difference between those two. All right. But as far as you're thinking of muscle fiber distribution, that's genetic. Wait, rep ranges? No, absolutely not. You think you're gonna shift different intermediate fiber types with rep ranges? No, no, absolutely not. Now, are you talking shifts of doing heavy strength training versus cardio over time impacting some of the intermediate fibers in their shift? Yes. But doing high versus low reps, I've never seen any data that would suggest that intermediate fiber types transition based upon rep range. Because the whole point of any of that, even your higher reps, they still are essentially just growing the fast twitch fibers. That's all they're growing. Okay, so Tola, if you're no longer a novice lifter and you are not on a new steroid dose, so let's say you are using no steroids, so that would be a constant dose, right? So 0 anabolics is a consistent steroid dose. Or let's say you're doing 500 milligrams, or you've gotten quite used to 500 milligrams a test, or whatever your amount happens to be. Your intermediate fibers aren't growing anymore from your lifting weights. They're only growing from drugs. And once they stabilize on the drugs, that's where they are. So your muscle growth from 20 rep sets, just like your 5 rep sets, is your fast twitch fibers. That is what's growing. Okay. Novices are growing. That's why you get noob gains. So a lot of those intermediate fibers are hypertrophying, through that first year of training, absolutely at a significant rate. But once you kind of finish out those noob gains, it's just your fast twitch fibers. Until you introduce a new hormone environment, you introduce new drugs, more drugs. So without drugs, none of that's growing. Jason, thoughts on doing leg extensions? I don't really have thoughts. The question is too vague. That's like just asking me any other exercise. What are my thoughts? I don't know. What are we looking for specifically? What are we looking for specifically? So where are we going with the question itself, Sean? I'm doing good, man. It's a great morning. That coffee chat was phenomenal today. I'm just going to do lives today on here. I'm not going to put up any other informative for now. Like I've said, for reasons I've put up in statuses. Lives, vlogs, some shorts are pretty much what we're going to do on the channel. Hopefully they get to where I can double stream again, so I can hit Facebook at the same time. That's really where it's at. But no, man, the live streams are the way to go. As we're seeing this last couple of weeks, like this morning, the super chats were great. I won't be doing any of the streams running. So if I run, a lot of times it'll be documented with the app. They don't justify the slot. They don't make any money. If I put up 3 pieces of content per day, I'm capped as far as the notifications, and basically YouTube doesn't like me doing that. Right? They don't like me putting up more than 3 pieces of content that hit kids' feeds that are not shorts. And they've made it very clear in that case, it's a wasted slot. Those vlogs only make like $1 because it's outside and all of that. It doesn't run the ads the same. So if they don't get super chats, they make $1. I've completely wasted a slot. That's a horrible business model at this point. So now I'm not gonna do them at all. I mean, I'd do them if I was guaranteed super chats, but otherwise you just can't justify it. Alan, they have made it very clear in their policies as far as stuff going into notifications, saying they don't want you spamming is essentially what they're telling us, and it's very obvious. So if you look at my views have nothing to do with what viewers want to see always, right? Is people are literally not seeing my content. People come through all the time with these lives and they're like, oh wow, nothing has come. Like, I've been subscribing. I have 6 years. This is the first video of yours to come into my feed in 6 years. And they'll be subscribers. So what does that tell you? Alan, you're asking me way too complicated of a question for me to cover in here. Also, I have to factor in the NDA I had before, which they could sue me over, when I had a partnership that I signed an NDA about their algorithm. And it's Google. They have the power to destroy you in court. So any tiered partner who's ever got that class and signed that NDA, you see what I mean? I'm not going to discuss a whole lot with the algorithm. But what I'm seeing from the notes and stuff that they do make available to us, I've essentially spammed way too much. So I'm going to have to limit. Hard cap, 3 pieces of content, real content a day. No. So apparently they don't want you to do huge amounts, Alan. Um, Jason, what's nice to the right to bear arms or the right to eat meat? The right to bear arms could protect your right to eat meat. Jason, do you like drinking milk? Sure, I like milk. I think we need to be careful of. Hit that like button, by the way. Got multiple regulars in here, and we only have 2 likes. And those 2 likes started before the regulars came in. You guys aren't hitting the like button. Come on now, get with it. I got to pick it up a notch. Facebook's been slow today, but YouTube has been good. I've been enjoying my omnivore lifestyle. Now more things to you. Hey, Sean, I'm going to be honest, man. It's a little weird that you still hung up on that. No offense, but, come on, dude. Right. Right. So I don't know, Alan. They don't reveal everything, but keep in mind, it's very hard for the average person out there to get any info on their algorithm because they make all of us sign non-disclosure agreements when they do tell us anything. And I signed one. So, Jason, whenever I do eat meat, I'm more grateful to you. Okay. Right. Hey, Sean, but bro, you got it. You need to move on from that. It's a little weird. Even some of the clients have noticed. They're like, yeah, the Sean guy's kind of weird. Let's go on to other stuff, man. Do you work out? Hey, Sean, do you lift weights? Maybe we could talk about training more. All right. Jason, do you have any opinion on the safety of Teflon on cooking appliances like air fryers? I've never used an air fryer. How do I have an opinion? I see Teflon is relatively, how do I put it? Sure, there's a potential for environmental toxins there, but in the grand scheme of things, you know, I don't think it's probably that big of a deal. But I would also say if you're going to use that sort of Teflon pan, you might want to be careful with what you use. Like, don't put metal on it. Maybe only stick to plastic stuff. I mostly do like ceramic type and just a very thin coat of olive oil. Like, you can do an olive oil spray when I do eggs and stuff. But yeah, in theory, sure, you could get too many environmental toxins from the Teflon. Now, compared to a lot of other stuff, though, that people do, it's pretty far down the list. I'm not saying you shouldn't care at all, but here's my point, Stampede. It is further down the list of concerns. In other words, I would say make sure the big stuff is covered before you worry about small stuff. An example, people worry about environmental toxins who say drink alcohol. They're like, but I only drink once a month. Yeah, that's still way, 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 way more excessive than something like the environmental toxins from the Teflon pan. It's dramatically higher, right? So I always say to people, take care of the big stuff first before you worry about the small things. Do you consume alcohol at all? Well, that probably, if you're concerned with any form of environmental toxin or poison, the alcohol should be the first thing that you cut to zero, because that's the number one poison that humans ingest in general, just across the board. And even one drink a month is going to be probably the highest load of toxic stuff that you personally ingest. That's a strain on your liver and endocrine system. Right. So cut that to zero, then start worrying about other stuff. Do you consume refined sugars? That's stuff that should probably come out. Right. Any real trans fat still in your diet. Like, that's the stuff you need to eliminate first. Then you start deciding, do you want to worry about these lesser things? Sean, I think almost everyone on the face of the earth knows Muslims don't consume bacon nor drink alcohol. They're not supposed to drink alcohol, but some of them still do. It is forbidden, though. I've had conversations with some Muslims about this topic, including clients. right? They're like, yeah, I mean, technically we're not supposed to, and I don't, but people don't always follow what their religion requires, even when it commands it. But yeah, it is forbidden. I don't know what you're asking. What do I think of being forbidden? I don't understand the question. I don't know. Well, so let me. I guess a good answer would be I don't have thoughts. I don't know what to think of that. It's not my religion. Alcohol is a true poison, but the body has metabolic pathways to process it. Things like PFAS and microplastics. Um, I think we could definitely make the case that any amount of alcohol is still going to be worse. Also, talking about the poisoning versus the known carcinogenic effects. I mean, no, you're not going to eliminate the carcinogenic effect of the first pass tissues. Sean, I don't know anything about that. I don't follow UFC. So if you're saying I did not know that Muslims dominate the UFC, I didn't know all the UFC champions were Muslims. I don't follow it enough to know that. So I didn't know Conor McGregor and all those guys were Muslims. Like news to me. Um, I didn't know that. So John Jones, Conor McGregor, all those dudes are Muslim. Yeah. Again, I don't really follow UFC. So, but you said they always win. Conor McGregor won some fights. So you're saying Conor McGregor lost every match against every Muslim that he fought? He never beat one? Yeah. Conor McGregor's an alcoholic. Yeah, that's bad. That's sad to hear. That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. But I mean, alcohol in general is going to impede performance. It's going to cost you something there as an athlete. But that's the problem. People have their vices. They have their addictions. What do you do about it? Man, I can't get likes on this one to save my soul. It's like 6 people commenting, 3 likes. Come on, guys, hit them like buttons. Hit that like. All right. So we get some views in here. Did anyone get a notification? I don't know. There's not enough people in here for me to find out. So Sean, Stampede Alley, did you guys get notifications or did you just happen to stumble upon it? So I'm trying to figure out what's up with my algorithm. So if you guys didn't get a notification, that's telling me something also. I'm using that for data gathering, asking in these live streams. I didn't see a notification. Okay, gotcha. So how did you find it? I don't know how people actually find the lives outside of that. It's always fascinating for me because I don't use YouTube as an end user. I use YouTube as a creator. So I don't do the homepage or any of that stuff. It's not part of what I do. I just don't use it. So I'm purely a creator studio. I launch everything from Creator Studio and even the Creator app on the phone. This is at my desktop. So I don't even always know what you guys see on your so you didn't get a notification. That would explain some things. I just opened YouTube and your stream was the front page. Okay, gotcha. All right, cool. Trump is the greatest president of all time, giving us a free. Well, assuming everyone gets it. I mean, if it's like that last stimulus, anybody with a gross income, I'm sorry, yeah, it's going to be gross income of over 75,000 isn't getting it. You know, we'll see how that works out. We'll see how that works out. So I don't know, Blaze. See, there we go. We got another like, and then the views start going up. Those scale. Jason, do you think using more your Michael Hearn or Ulysses? I don't even remember who Ulysses is. I have no idea. Given that I don't know what Ulysses looks like anymore, I vaguely remember him. I couldn't tell you. Does it matter? Do we care? Man, I almost wish bodybuilding would just die out and we could stop. I wish the whole fitness world would never talk about competitive bodybuilding again. I wish it would just kind of go away. Wouldn't we all just be a lot better? All good. We'll still get it then. I might not be getting it, please. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah. So it's looking like if it's going to work like the last one, which it may happen if they do it. It's going to be your gross. So it should be post taxes. So after all your deductions, right? So it's going to be post. So, but I've been forced to take the standard deduction recently. I haven't been able to get my itemized to work high enough to justify it. I've had years where I had like 30,000 in itemized, you know. So yeah, let's see how all of it works out. I still want him to follow through with his idea of anyone under 150,000 pays no taxes, like no IRS at all. I mean, that would really be ideal for the American people. I mean, so you talk about an economic stimulus. How big of an economic stimulus would it be if the entire middle class paid no income tax at all? So again, if we're talking about giving money back, how about they don't pay anything to begin with? Then you need less government spending for less IRS and less tax collection. And then you're not dealing with giving it back. They just simply never pay it. You know? So if we really want a true economic stimulus, we should initiate what he had said of anyone making under 150,000 a year pays nothing in federal tax. It's always fascinating to me if you put that out there of people actually challenging that. What's your logic in challenging that? You're telling me that what we collect in tariffs and off of people making more than that in business taxes can't fund a country? So what happens if we end the flow of drugs, we get rid of our addiction problems, and then we don't tax anybody making anything in that range? Then we just cut spending. What would be the economic boost? So you combine those things, you completely win the war on drugs. Actually win it, use the military. Cut all taxes, all income tax on the middle class and working class and working poor. What's our economic boost look like then? Right? Average working class American pays no taxes. How much extra money do they have to spend for the economy? Just saying. because you can't tax your way into prosperity. Hey, Blaze, I don't understand your question. And why would you ask me this? I have no backstory. I don't know. What do you do for a living? How much do you make? What vacations do you fly? I don't know. I have no idea, man. So, are you a government employee? That's why I don't understand the question. Right? I don't see why this affects your vacations unless you are a government employee. So, are you not getting paid? What do you mean can't travel? What does that have to do? Why does a government shutdown um, affect that? I don't understand. Airlines are private industry. Why are flights being canceled? Is it because of the TSA situation? I've got to look this up. It will fail. Hmm. But whose fault is it that we have a shutdown? Not necessarily Trump's fault. The air flight traffic controllers, that makes sense. Um, gotcha. So, but here's the other part. Not necessarily Trump's fault. The Dems are technically blocking this. If they simply stop wanting to fund the stuff that's the conflict, these problems go away. You know, these problems go away. And I think what people are not understanding when they're like, but illegal immigrants don't get welfare, but they do. With the anchor baby thing. So we have to remove the anchor baby situation there because that's why we have a problem. This, if you are here illegally and you give birth to a child in the country, the child's getting citizenship from parents who are not citizens, and then they're getting welfare benefits. That's a problem. That's a major loophole. And I would agree that if your parents are not citizens, you don't get citizenship just because you're born here. If you're not in the country legally, your child shouldn't be getting citizenship. They should be citizens of your home country. And I don't think that's unreasonable. So this is the sort of nonsense that's created the problems that we have. This is what's created these conflicts by not enforcing our own immigration laws fully at 100%. We now have these situations with anchor babies and other stuff, and that is a problem. Right. But I would agree too. Same thing. We have budget issues. We shouldn't be having foreign aid in general. Why are we sending money overseas to other countries? If we're in debt, we can't afford to be giving money away to other countries. That doesn't make sense. I would agree with that too. It should be America first. This is not unreasonable. I mean, it's the same with you and I. If we're in debt, we shouldn't be giving money to charity, right? So Blaze, if you have $500,000 in debt right now, right? Let's say that your debt exceeds your annual income. You shouldn't be giving money away to charity at that point. Probably not a good idea, especially if it's not a tax deduction. Like if you're not someone who gets, because our government doesn't get tax deductions for charity. So if your personal debts right now exceed your income, you probably shouldn't be donating a lot of money to charity. And it's the same way with foreign aid. Right? We don't have it. Our country's in debt. Till we balance the budget, figure out what we're doing with this deficit, we shouldn't be doing it. And people can not like it all they want. It's a bad thing for us. So it should be common sense. People will blame everyone for everything. But all those same moderates also remembered the Biden economy. Like that economy pushed people to vote red. That economy pushed people to vote red. And then the how extreme the left got. Everyone who wasn't on the far left got sick of it. Right? Look how many of the agendas that they push. And it's like, if you don't agree with us, then you're a Nazi. You're evil. It's like, come on, guys. When they've turned woke into a religion, it's a problem. They've driven the libertarians, the moderates, the centralists to the right with the extremism. I mean, they throw a lot of these crazy terms out, and it's like, oh, if you don't believe this, you're a transphobe. Technically, most Americans are transphobes by their definition. That's 80% of the country. So when you're pushing those agendas, this is a problem. Most people don't agree with a lot of those policies and ideas. And restrooms and sports. By and large, the majority of people don't support that stuff. So again, ridiculous. Extreme fringe politics being treated like they're the norm. You're pushing people away. The last administration destroyed the economy. And the television can say, and the media can claim all they want that we weren't in a recession, but everybody felt it. The whole country felt it. So if you're going to get on the media and lie about it when the cost of living and everyone's money was a problem, the average American did feel like we were in a recession. You can get up and claim otherwise, and just figures and statistics, but everyone saw it with their bottom line. Everyone saw it with their cost of living. Everyone saw it with all of these things. I mean, they did their monthly budgets. Right. Right. So we run into problems here. Well, I don't know. So I tried to stick this out till breakfast time, thinking of cohabitating with one of my friends to help manage finance in this economy. And that's the point, Alan. All right. You're in that situation while the media is claiming we weren't in a recession. Really? You haven't been in a recession for a couple of years? You claim we aren't, but why is everyone in these situations? And it's everybody. Everyone talks about it. She's right. It's not rocket science as to how the whooping happened, right? Pushing the social policies that they pushed, all the rioting, Black Lives Matter, all the trans stuff, all these agendas that they pushed, and then lying, saying the economy was great when people could feel it. Of course, it's not hard to figure out. It didn't even have to be Trump. The left ran such a bad playbook during this last administration, and then ran such weak candidates. Let's be fair. It didn't even have to be Trump. They could have ran anybody and still probably won. Because you saw the same thing with the Congress and the Senate. It wasn't just the White House. It was the governor seats, congressional seats, everything. I feel like it was so bad the GOP could have just put a chimpanzee up there and just said, we're going to run, our candidate's going to be Mr. Chimp. And they could have just put a chimpanzee up there and he would have defeated Harris or Biden at this point. Let's be realistic. That's how weak their chances were. I'm surprised they got the votes they did. I suspect voter fraud just because it was even that close and it wasn't 70, 80% popular vote. That's how bad it was. Right, the blue collar were struggling. Even the upper middle class were struggling. Alan, everyone else was struggling. I didn't see the Tucker and Fuentes interview, honestly. When Barack Obama is pushing back on folks on how far they're taking wokeness, it's pretty clear the movement has gone off the deep end, and that's true. I mean, and that's the point I made the other day in one of these chats. In my lifetime, who was considered to be a liberal hero? Bill Clinton. Dude, Bill Clinton was a liberal hero to the liberals, right? He was a hero. He would now be called a Nazi. The left would be calling Bill Clinton a Nazi. But a generation and a half ago, he was a liberal hero and a progressive. Right? He was a progressive. Right. And AMC, valid point. Because even Obama's up here going, hey, guys, you went a little too far. He probably said it like, hey, guys, went a little too far on this one. It's like, reel it back a notch. Yeah, they've gone too far with it. I'm surprised the election was even as close as it was. They don't know. He's thrown it out there, but a lot of us are not going to qualify because it might be the last round. He put out the news today. He hasn't issued it further, but he issued a public statement that he'd like to see $2,000 stimulus checks go out to everyone, the non-rich. So it might be, there might be what they did last time if they do it, where anybody under 75,000 income after deductions. Obviously, people already on Social Security and stuff like that would all be getting it if they do that. Because again, he's looking at to stimulate the economy using the tariffs. So he's talking about taking money out of the tariffs that they made money on this year. Is what the discussion is. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with it. But no, I didn't see the Tucker and Fuentes interview. Is it worthwhile? Is it worth watching? I don't know. I kind of feel that way too. AMC, the stimulus checks are probably, when we're in this look, we have a government shutdown right now. We have a 40 trillion deficit. Right. I'm not sure that this is the wisest choice. Let's get rid of the IRS. There we go. That's what I said earlier. Why don't we just quit taxing the hell out of the working class completely? How about we get rid of all income tax on the middle and working class? How would that do for stimulus? What would that do for stimulating the economy if they weren't paying the government? So he's like, well, let's use tariffs, and fine, then let's use tariffs. Let's use business tax. Let's use tariffs. Let's tax the top 10% and quit taxing everybody else. How would that stimulate the economy? Then people would have more money. Right? Then people would have more money if the government was not taxing them so hard. Then they would have their stimulus checks. And then you wouldn't need as many government employees to be out collecting the taxes. You'd be spending less. Right, exactly. We're already broke. We can't necessarily afford it. You know? Hey Justin, I'm not going to discuss any training that I don't do on camera. Right? Printing money is easy when you're a national government, right? I might wind this down now. I was hoping to see if it was like this morning, but I think the afternoon will be strong. This morning was super solid on them supers. The super chats were flying. This 2K check is just giving our money back to us, right? So how about we just have some tax relief? Why hasn't he floated his original idea early? And as soon as he was elected, he was proposing no taxes to anyone making less than 150,000 a year, no IRS at all for them. Now that would be a stimulus, right? Or on the market's red hot, right? Mm-hmm. Hold on, I'm gonna get some water. I might try to run this a hair longer, but I need water. All right, we're back. Man, we lost viewers just because I get up to get water. Well, this one's been a slower stream. I might wind it down and save my voice for the afternoon and try to do a lively afternoon chat. What do you guys think? Midday is always hit or miss. Let's hit strength standards and receive a 2. There we go, right? If you can't hit my dad bod strength standard, you don't get to 2,000 check. That's what I think. You can't bench 315, you don't deserve the money. Okay, that's too much. How about 225? Like, you got to hit the novice strength standards, the bare minimum, to get that check. I think that would be fair. American people under 30, particularly men, are tuning to the Justin, why would I do a collab with Jay Masters? I mean, I run a fitness channel. I care about health, fitness, athleticism. Why would you think that he's someone at this point who I'd really want to collab with? How's this fit with what I do? And I'm actually a serious question because I don't know shit about him other than he drinks alcohol and uses a lot of drugs. Like, I don't actually know anything else about him. Like, literally nothing. So it's a serious question. Why exactly would I collaborate with an alcoholic who abuses a lot of gear? Like, why? So what's the end game for this? So mainstream media is calling for Tucker to be canceled for platforming. So what he interviewed? So interviewing someone shouldn't be calling for cancel. And he's older. Okay, his fitness is changing. He's very fit now. Okay, gotcha. Well, that makes more sense. So, because you guys got to realize I'm not up to speed on this stuff. So these are things you kind of got to tell me. Why did he? So here's my question, Justin, because I don't really care about collabing with people. I don't collab with anyone unless they directly come to me. Did he say in a video somewhere that he wanted to collab with me? Because I don't care about collabing with people. I entertain it if someone asks me about it. Right? So my question would be, he must have said something for this to come up. Okay, so then that makes sense. Gotcha. You guys got to tell me this stuff because I don't have any interest in collaborating with anybody, but I'll entertain it if someone wants to collab with me. There'll be times like, okay, yeah, I might do it. I don't care about collabing. I'm not going to waste time asking somebody for a collab. But I'll always entertain it if someone asks me, whether I say yes or no. I say no to a lot of them, by the way. I just don't tell you guys. Say, no, dude, I don't want to collab with you. You can eat a bag of dicks. For some people, I've done that. People I don't get along with have reached out to collab. A couple of them have. I'm like, no. But other people I did, so like when modern day Winston Churchill did one. Yeah, I'm like, okay, cool. Let's just do it, man. Right? So everyone, generally when you see me do any podcast with a lot of these other people, that was their idea. It wasn't mine. Right? No, I wouldn't have felt proud and not really. I didn't really think they were interesting, and I've always done my own thing. Yeah. I was never interested in their antics at all, personally. So no. I wouldn't have wanted to be part of it. Just wasn't my thing. I thought it was kind of weird personally. But each their own. I never understood the point. All right, though, guys. I think I'm about to wind this down. It's time for Coach to get some breakfast. So I love you guys, and I'll catch you in an afternoon live later. And we're out.